Welcome back to the Rangeless Travel Podcast. We're your favorite adventure travel hosts. I'm Britt, and this is Ryan. Together, we travel the world by plane, train, and 89 Ford Sportsmobile. Currently, we're traveling the U.S. in an old van with our two dogs, Layla and Cedar. Every Tuesday, we share stories and tips to inspire you to book that next trip. So go ahead and don't be shy. Follow along with us at Rangeless_ on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Let's dive in. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Rangeless Travel Podcast. Our last episode, we took you from Calixico in California over the Mexicali border into Mexicali, Mexico. And we planned on ending there on this Baja podcast series and go back to our previously have guests on the podcast plan.
But we got such good feedback from that episode and people said it was so helpful that we've decided to make it an entire series.
Our entire personality is now this, for the time being. We are still going to have guests on the podcast, but we do want to cover a step-by-step guide. Because one of the things that neither one of us could find, me specifically, he didn't really do that much research at all until we get to a place. Find a step-by-step, go here to go here, and then go from here to here, and here to here, to step-by-step of the route that I take, even though there's really only one route to take.
Yeah.
So we are going to go through that with you, where every episode for the next few weeks is going to be from one stop to the next stop. We're going to have to backtrack a little bit for this episode because I think we've left you in Mexicali. So you have crossed over the border. You're in Mexicali. You can go to Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, whatever you choose, or you can do grocery shopping at all. It's up to you. You're going to get gas, and you're headed towards San Felipe.
Yeah. San Felipe is about 2.5 hours south of Mexicali. It's 195 kilometers, so you need to make sure you have gas. And then when you arrive in San Felipe...
Well, there's going to be a military checkpoint between Mexicali and San Felipe.
Right. 50 kilometers outside of San Felipe, there's a military checkpoint. Honestly, it's pretty easy. You just pull up, show them your documents. They're going to want your passport, your FMN.
Yeah.
They just want to see, that you're allowed to be in the country. That's pretty much it.
We went over this in our last episode, so if you need more information about the border crossing, checkpoint, but also the military checkpoint, it's at the end of our last episode. You can go back and refer to that. Now, most people either spend the night in San Felipe or pass on through.
Right.
Now, there's a few things in San Felipe that, whether you decide to stay or not, it's up to you. Go grocery shopping if you haven't already there, because it's going to be your last grocery shop, supermarket.
Yeah,
a bigger
big
supermarket.
One. What was the name of that one again?
Calimax. Now, I'd stop there if you have if you didn't do it already. I mean, we're two people. We went shopping at Costco, but we're two people. We can't do all our grocery shopping at Costco. It's just too much stuff. So we went to Calimax. Well, I went to Calimax to get bits and bobs that we don't need 60 pounds of potatoes. We need 2 potatoes. But they have vegetarian stuff. They had some gluten-free stuff. They had an international section. So if you're looking for anything like that, you'll be able to find it at Calimax. And anything else, you can just get it one of the little what are they?
Mercados.
The Mercados in all the little towns.
Yeah, and also in San Felipe, there's a spot to fill up with propane. So if you came across the border with an empty propane tank, top it up now while you have the chance, because further on down the road, there isn't going to be a spot until you get to Bahia De Los Angeles. Okay, so there's reports of a little bit of unrest in San Felipe, and that because of that unrest, that boondocking isn't recommended in that area.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of civil unrest between the cartel and the military there. So there is an elevated military presence. There hasn't been any issues between the cartel and tourists coming through, so don't worry about it. But they do recommend that if you stay overnight in San Felipe, you stay at a campground. Right. We decided, let's just skip San Felipe then, and it's not really worth staying. And there wasn't really anything in San Felipe that we were gunning to see.
Right.
So we headed further on down to a hot spring that we heard of, on the ocean.
Yeah, this is called Puertecitos. It's about an hour further south than San Felipe. And yeah, it's a tidal hot spring on the ocean.
Yeah. And this is where you're going to spend your first night in Mexico. So
Right.
you're going to drive all the way from the Mexicali. You're going to cross into Mexicali and drive all the way to Parecitos. Now, you have to pay whether you're just going to the hot spring or if you're staying overnight. So we recommend just stay overnight at the campground, and then you can also see the hot spring.
Yeah, it is a little pricey. It's 600 pesos a night, so that's about $30.
And they don't really have any amenities. Like, they have bathrooms,
yeah.
but they're rough.
Yeah.
They don't have showers, but they'll give you a bucket of hot water.
Yeah. There is palapas on the beach, which is quite nice.
Yeah. They don't have a dump. They don't have water fill.
They'll take your garbage, though.
They'll take your garbage, yeah. And there's the hot spring. So we just figured we'd pay to stay there the night. We stayed there that night. The next morning we woke up and we decided to go to the hot springs because they're tidal. So you can't just go at any time. You do have to like hit them at the right time, and mid-tide's the best because the hot water comes up from like the bottom or the side. It comes from like a volcano.
And there's like pools that are tidal. So during low tide, those pools are really, really hot and you can't go in them. And then at high tide, it's
cold. There's too much ocean water.
Drowned with ocean water. So yeah, there's no point going in.
So mid-tide's the best. We only got about 20 minutes, but we talked to someone else online that had gone recently, and they're like, oh, we got it like the perfect time. We got to hang out for like an hour.
Oh, maybe we were a little late then.
So we must have just like hit it a little late.
There's different tidal pools too. So there's ones that got cooler quicker than the ones, and then like you slowly find yourself moving along closer to the source.
It's fun.
The tide comes in.
Fun.
It is very fun.
I wouldn't if you decide not to stay at that exact spot and do those pools, no big deal. You can stay in San Felipe. But I really liked it. Mm-hmm. When we got out of the pool, they do have showers, remember, though.
They're not showers. They're just buckets.
It's a bucket of hot water.
In a stall that used to be a shower.
And I might be a little, like, biased because I had a bad experience. So we get out of the hot springs, which was amazing. There was a few other people there. We sat in the hot springs. It was, like, 20 minutes long. We get back in the van. We're like, all right, let's go. To our next stop, which is Bahia De Los Angeles, which is where you're going to be headed as well. But when we got out and we drive down to where like the bathroom areas are, and we're like, we're going to go to the toilet. Well, and then there's a kid filling up buckets of water, and it's warm water. So we're like, awesome. Yeah, I'll take a bucket of water. Ryan gets his bucket of water and like goes into a shower
Yeah, because we're covered in this like sulfury water. So
sulfury and sandy. So it was nice to be able to take a rinse. I get my little bucket of hot water. And as I'm walking up, like I'm just in my bathing suit with a towel wrapped around my waist, but like just a bikini top on the top. And I'm like, oh, I think maybe I should, like, we're in a little town, like I should probably cover up a little bit more. And I'm like, I'm getting a bucket of water and going to like rinse off in a shower stall. Like, I think it's fine. Like, there's nobody here but this like one teenage boy. Like, it's going to be fine. So I like ignore that in my head. So I get my little bucket of water and it's hot and I bring it into the shower stall. And I'm like, I could feel this kid like watching me. Like I could feel him watching me, and there's nobody else like getting hot water or anything. It's just us. So I get my bucket, I go into the thing, and I can feel him watching me, and then I can hear his footsteps go like around to the other side, like the back side of where the shower stalls are. But the male's toilets are back there. So I was like, oh, maybe no, it's not what I think. And then I hear the footsteps like stop. And I'm like, And I look up, and he had gone to the backside of the building, probably climbed up on the toilet or something, to peek over the top of the shower stall to try to get a peek. I'm in my bikini, so like he didn't see anything, but he was trying to. So I immediately now feel so icky, so uncomfortable. Like all the voices in my head are like, that was your fault. You know you should have covered up. None of it was my fault. It's not your fault. But, like, that's what my mind's, like, racing, and I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I just want to rinse. So, like, I immediately, like, get out of the shower stall. This kid, I see him running away. I'm like, yeah, Ryan, like, he was peeping. And I start yelling, you little peeper! I saw you, you little fucking peeper! There's a language barrier. English is not his first language, but I think he knew that I was not happy and that he was caught. So Ryan's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He's no help. Ryan's no help. He's like, what do you mean he was looking up there? I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm the protector of this van, so he's not going to do anything, so I need to take care of this. You look very angry, but it's the truth. He didn't know what to do. He never knows what to do. He's a man. Men don't know what to do in situations of emergencies.
I didn't know who you were talking about. I didn't know
men never know how to handle situations of emergencies. If there's an emergency, you find a woman, because even though in the movies they may be like every time there's an emergency, they'll have that line, what do we do now?
All right, okay, anyways.
I digress.
What happened?
So, we met a friend down at the pool who, you know, is a local woman who we were chatting with. So she obviously has a lot more Spanish than I do because she speaks Spanish. So I go up to the kid when I see her there and I was like, hey, I saw you. Like, I saw you looking up there. And she immediately, like, came over and she was like, what do you do? What do you do? So I tell her the whole story that I just shared with you guys, and she's like, oh, no. She starts yelling at him in Spanish. But, like, she's just a guest, too. Like, she's not anyone. She's just a guest, like, having my back. Then we see a woman, and there's, like, a home there, right? So she's like, oh, is this your son? And this mom comes over, and she's like, what did you do? And he's like white in the face, terrified, as he should be.
If he had a tail, he'd be tucked between his legs.
Oh, absolutely. So mom lays in on him, and she's like, makes him apologize to me, and she's like, he says this is the first time he's ever done it, but I don't know. I'm so sorry. This is absolutely unacceptable behavior. Like, lays in on him. I'm like, yeah, you get him. So I trust that he will definitely probably not try that again. So, like, it was fine. Like, every woman there had my back. He got reprimanded. Like, everything was handled to the utmost that it should have been handled to, but it just kind of gave me a yucky feeling, and I was just like, And I'm like, I don't know. But I digress. So you woke up either at the hot springs or in San Felipe, and you're going to your next spot, which is Bahia De Los Angeles.
That's right.
This is day 2 of your drive down the Baja.
Yes.
Or down the Baja Peninsula.
Now, this is a long drive. It's going to take you about 4.5 hours to get there. Google Maps is going to say 2.5 hours. They're lying. It is 4.5 hours. It's 325 kilometers. So you have to, if you've left San Felipe, you filled up at San Felipe. There's one spot to get gas at 167 kilometers before Bahia de Los Angeles. This is about halfway there. The conditions of the road are okay on the main road going down. There's a few potholes, but once you turn off the main road onto the road to Bahia de Los Angeles, it gets significantly worse. It's not like impassable. You don't need like 4-wheel drive. It's still a paved road, but the potholes get bigger and across the whole road and deeper, and it's just not that fun.
And it just makes you take longer.
Yes, you have to slow down and avoid them, but it's worth the trip. There's one military checkpoint on the way there, but it was closed the day that we went through. There was nobody there. And we went through
on a Monday, so
it was
I don't
Monday
know.
Morning, yeah. And that's at 170 kilometers before Bahia de Los Angeles, so it's just before the gas station. It's like 3 kilometers before the gas station.
That means nothing in my mind.
What do you mean? You think in miles?
Yeah, but like, how long is that? Like, how far in time? Like, if it's 3 kilometers, like...
halfway.
Yeah, but like, how long does it... Like, you mean like 2 hours outside?
About two hours outside.
Okay.
It's just it's a day that you have to get the drive done. That's pretty much it. Arriving into Bahia de Los Angeles, you're going to come in over the hill and you're going to get a really nice panoramic view of the entire bay and like all the islands that are dotted out in the bay, and it's really cool. There's a spot that you can like pull off by this like radio tower, and you can like take pictures and videos and everything, and it's really, really cool up there. How long to stay in Bahia? I'd say 2 days to up to a week. We stayed for a week.
We stayed for a week. You definitely don't need to stay for a week. Like, you can stay overnight if you want to.
Some people do.
Yeah, there was quite a few people that just stayed overnight. We stayed for a week because we move slow and we want to really get like a idea of all the different areas we go to.
Yeah.
That being said, there is stuff to do there. If you go during the right time, there's whale sharks that come into the bay. We're not there during whale shark season. I think whale shark season ends in like November.
Yeah.
I want to say whale shark season's like July to November. And from my understanding, they don't bait them in, but I don't know because we went out of season and like we
didn't see it firsthand, and as far as I know, they don't bait them in, and it's just part of the migration.
Yeah.
But they do take you out there. But
so I don't know. You'd have to
do your own
little
research on that one.
But they're there. From what I heard, that sometimes there's up to like 70 whale sharks in the bay.
Yeah.
Which is actually incredible. So I don't know, but they're there if you go between July and November, I believe. They also we saw dolphins. There's lots of fishing. There's fishing trips if you want to go out on like a boat.
Yeah, so you can go out on the boat and do sport fishing, and it's a big hub for that, actually. Lots of people go down there for it, and it's like catching competition-sized fish. Like, it's a big thing there. Where to stay? We stayed out on Playa Las Gringas, which is... well, it's not exactly a free beach because there's supposed to be someone that comes along and collects the garbage and charges 100 pesos for that service.
But no one came when we were there.
No one came, so
and we were there for a week.
Yeah.
So, but if you go onto iOverlander, it says that it's 100 pesos a night, and that there's someone that collects garbage. There was no garbage collection when we were there, so we just stayed out on the beach with literally like 24 other rigs coming in and out, like give or take. And it was really friendly, and there was a lot of people, and everyone was super nice.
Everyone's just lined up along the beach, and like everyone's making friends.
It's definitely not secluded.
No. There is secluded spots, though. There's other beaches. If you're four-wheel drive, there's other beaches just behind there where you can go, and you're the only person there.
But we're not four-wheel drive, so we're not getting there.
No. There's also paid campgrounds with showers and hookups and dumps and all
the amenities and all of the things.
But we wanted to stay out on the free beach.
Yeah, because that's what's nice. There's also some different hiking trails out there. You can go spear fishing. You can
go paddleboarding. It's a nice sheltered bay right there, so you can go out and paddleboard, and it's really nice. And there's like an island on the end of the spit, and if you go around that, there's like a whole bunch of fish to see in the water. Not a lot of colorful fish, but there's a lot of fish there.
Yeah. When we were there, a couple pulled up in their school bus, and they were like, "Oh, is there any good fishing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, if you go out there, you could definitely like do some spear fishing," because I saw they had like spear fishing stuff. And Ryan's like, "Yeah, I was out there earlier on my paddleboard," and he was telling them like all like the good little spots in like that little area. They went out the next day, they caught a fish, they filleted all of it and everything and gave us some. So thank you. We loved it. Cooked it up. It was delicious.
It was so good.
So it's just fun. All the water things, all of the water things that you want to do. It's also known for windsurfing, so it gets windy. We ended up leaving earlier than we had originally anticipated because it gets so windy in that area.
And the wind can come out of nowhere, and the forecasts aren't the most accurate down there. So, like, in the middle of the night, we had a casualty with our awning because we left our awning out thinking that there was no wind. And then out of nowhere at 1 o'clock in the morning, it just started blowing like crazy and ripped it to pieces.
We still need to try to fix it with some duct tape.
Yeah. So, if you have awnings and things like that.
Or like tents you set up.
Don't leave them out at nighttime, or make sure they're staked down really well.
That being said, we aren't a pop top, and our pop top was fine.
Yes.
But we ended up leaving because it was estimated that winds were going to get up to 60.
Yeah, which is a bit too much for our pop top.
So we were just like, better to be safe than sorry. So we moved on from there. But before moving on, they have all the things in the town that you could need. So they have like 1 to 2 day turnaround laundry service. They have onboard propane fill. They have water fill.
With a threaded, it's purified water with a threaded connection on a hose, so they can fill your tank if you don't have like the gravity fill. You can screw it in.
They also have a grocery store. They have multiple grocery stores.
They're not the biggest, so you should have done your stocking up in.
Yeah, you don't need to stock up there, but
you can pick up some essentials there.
Yeah, while you're there. What else? Oh, they also have quite a few really good taco spots
on the side of the road. The whole town is basically just like one main road, and like it's pretty impossible to get lost. And there's just little taco stands and stuff on the sides.
And then if you're like us as well, if you have your RV black tank, if that's your bathroom setup, some of the campgrounds do have dumps that you could pay to go on and dump your black tank.
The vibe overall, well, I don't know if we just got lucky or if that's the way it always is out on that beach. But Playa de los Gringas, it was like such a community feeling. Like everyone was like, everyone knew each other. They walk up and down the beach chatting with people like just in their camp. Like,
yeah, like our neighbors had a fire and kept like every
inviting
night
people over.
Yeah, would like go up and down and be like, oh, we're going to have a fire tonight. If you guys want to come join us, we've collected firewood.
Yeah,
you know?
all the dogs knew each other.
Yeah, all the dogs knew each other.
Yeah.
We knew all the dogs.
Yeah, so like we got really lucky there, I think. I don't know if it's like that all the time, but I was really happy there. Honestly, I didn't want to leave, but we only left because of the wind.
Yep.
I would have stayed for another week, to be honest with you.
And that's going to be your second stop or your second night
in Mexico.
In Mexico. If you are super zealous, people do cross at Mexicali and get all the way down to Bahia de Los Angeles in one day and do it as their first night.
Yeah, it is possible.
So it just depends up to you, your rig, how you're driving, how comfortable you are driving, how quickly you want to get down south. So this was...
Everyone's different.
That's it for this week. Don't forget to follow us for more because next episode we were going to be bringing you guys from Bahia de Los Angeles to Guerrero Negro. So like, subscribe, hit the notification button on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere else you get your podcasts. And until next week, bye.